It's pretty quick. Wow. Yikes. So I'm using StreamYard, and it's so much faster than waiting for Zoom to kind of like prepare and send it here and send it there. Whoop, 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 whoop. Anyway, so Cyndilu of the beBOLDyou podcast. This is our live recording of our weekly podcast. Woo! And I'm so excited this morning to have on Heidi Day. Heidi Day. Yay! So for those who don't know me, I'm going to just back up for 1 second. For those who don't know me, if you're listening to the podcast, you know me by this time because you're like 50 whatever episodes in. But for those who might be watching on Facebook Live or YouTube or seeing this on the website, you might not have ever met me before. So I'm Cyndilu. I'm the founder of beBOLDyou, the author of Becoming Bold You, who is the sponsor today of this show. Always sponsored by my book because, hey, who's gonna? Hey, I wrote the thing. I worked really hard to write it, and it's got some amazing stuff in there about choosing who you become. Ooh. And I think that fits so well into what we're going to be talking about today with Heidi Day. And I'm bringing up, I want to say this right, because the way she wrote this was so cool. So she's a soul conqueror, trauma healer, and life makeover strategist for badass women who want to smile and mean it. Hello. I mean, welcome to the show.
Thank you. So glad to be here.
Yes. Do you have anything else you'd like to share about what you do and how you do it and why you do it?
Well, really, this is what I have found. I've been doing this work for decades now. And what I know to be true is that many successful women have paved their path to success trying to outperform their pain. And so it was from that place that I created a framework that allowed them to heal their past while really creating and designing a life that they love. So that's the work that I get to do. And it is so amazing to be able to do this work and to be able to see the transformations and just be like a loving guide in the process.
That is so awesome. And I have to tell everybody who's not seeing this on video, if you were here, you would see green and purple everywhere on both sides of the screen because we both are, that was like the instant connection almost with Heidi. As soon as I saw all of her stuff and it's all blue, purple and green, I'm like, oh, she's got to be on the show because, we just share this like color connection here. So I'm actually going to do 10 quick questions to get to know you a little bit more. I used to do this at the end, and now I'm doing it at the beginning because I like for the guests to get to know who they're going to be listening to, and then we'll jump into the content, and we can go really deep, and we don't have to worry about it. So one of those questions is, what is your favorite color?
Well, let's see. That's a hard one. No.
Yeah, for those.
I am
purple.
I call myself purple-licious. Like, I love it.
Yeah. Purple is got such richness to it, I think. And you do have to be a bit bold, I think, to wear purple and to have purple be so much a part of your life. And you definitely are that.
Well, thank you.
Do you consider yourself more of an introvert or an extrovert?
That question used to be super easy before I had 3 kids, 2 dogs, and 1 husband and quarantined. I do a lot of work with helping clients on their introvert and extrovert journey and really understanding what that means. And people think that it means like, do you like to hang out with people or are you more of a loner? But really, it's about how you get energy, right? And so at this juncture in my life, because things do change, I am an extrovert who needs some introvert time. And I'm really super clear about it. Like, if I don't have it, things are not good in my life.
Yeah, I have a feeling it's a lot like personalities in that most people need both, but the levels that they need shift.
Yeah.
Based on what's happening in life.
Very much so. And because before, I kind of grew up as an only child. So I loved, and I'm sanguine and I'm zany and I'm right brain. So I really, all of the external stimuli has always been my go-to. What I didn't recognize was that I had a built-in solitude just that was my life. until I no longer have the built-in solitude. And then I'm like, where is my solitude?
Right. And that is when I discovered that I loved being alone. I got married. I had a second marriage. I got married, and he owned a house on top of a mountaintop, and the closest neighbor was a quarter of a mile away. And I wondered, but I loved every minute of it. I was like, wait a minute, I thought I was an extrovert. That's when I learned that if I don't have downtime, my talking will start getting faster, and I'll start, just like nonstop. I have to get time alone to re-energize my brain and to like recharge it and get it to think straight again. I don't know if that makes sense to you, but like my girlfriend knew when I was overtired and I had too much stimulus. She's like, you need to go home and go to bed.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, okay, going. Alrighty. So the next question is, what energizes you?
Creating something beautiful.
Oh, I love that. That is so special. And what is the most exotic place you have ever been?
The eucalyptus forest in Maui.
Oh my gosh, that sounds amazing.
Rainbow. I mean, like it's rainbow bark and just, I mean, you see things that it's like, is this even real on that whole
Wow.
path? So the eucalyptus forest in Maui was magical for me.
Okay, putting that on my list.
Definitely.
This is why I asked this question. It's like, where do I have to go that people have been? Because, you can look at all those books all you want, but you don't actually see and find that fun place until you've had somebody like you that's experienced it. It sounds amazing. I want to see rainbow bark. That is definitely on my list.
Rainbow. Yeah, literally. And it is indeed rainbow. And it's just, it's on there's a famous place called the Road to, it's not coming to me right now. Perhaps if it comes to me in the interview, or I'll send you Hanoi. I'm going to send it to you, but it's this journey it's like a soul's journey. It's very powerful. I'll send it to you.
Yeah. That sounds amazing. Alrighty. What phrase or quote encourages you the most? This one always gets people thinking. For those listening on the podcast, she's thinking.
Yes, I'm thinking. And the answer for that is, truthfully, if she can, so can I.
Ooh, love.
Yeah.
What has been...
Yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, it's just there is a spirit of like true can-do-ness within me. Like I just, believe, I can make that, or, I can do that, or I can try that. And it's gotten me into a bit of trouble, but it's also allowed my greatest successes as well.
Right. I know you're like all of a sudden going, I think I'm swimming over my head.
Right.
Like, I know I am.
Right.
I totally know I am. We have so much in common. I totally know I'm over my head, but I'm totally loving learning all of this journey.
That's
right.
So
it's crazy, but it's lovely. All right. So what has been your favorite age? I shouldn't do those back to back.
No, they're interesting because one of the commitments, so I have 3 children that are 13, 12, and 7. And I have been really committed to loving them and enjoying, not loving them, because loving is automatic for me, but really enjoying every age. And so I think that is a philosophy that I have for myself as well. I'm 47 now and I love it. I love who I am. I love what I've uncovered about life and myself. But in truth, if you saw me at 37 or 27, I probably would have said the same thing, because I have a fundamental belief that's kind of a be here now and like do the hell out of every moment. So, yeah.
I remember when my kids were growing up and people would say, it's going to be over in a moment. And I'm like, I'm enjoying this moment, right? Like I really felt like I'm not going to feel that way. But now that I'm almost 60, I totally get what they say. So definitely you are doing exactly the right thing, embracing every moment that you can with those kids, because they are gone in no time flat.
Yep.
It is crazy.
To, the imaginary friend stage, which I'm in with one right now. I mean, all of it. I'm just kind of like, okay, yes, you and your 10 pretend dogs can come to the dinner table. No problem.
No problem. And no, we're not putting 10 plates on the floor. They're going, you have to use the one, right?
Right.
Oh no, we will do one.
10 plates. They don't like our plates. They need the pretend plates.
Right. Pretend plates. That's perfect. Are you a book reader?
I am.
Okay, so what book are you reading now?
Currently, I am reading Miracle Morning Millionaire.
Okay.
Oh my God, by Hal Elrod. Completely love it. Actually, if I were to be completely honest, I read several books at one time.
I was going to say, how many are you reading?
Yeah. So when
I thought, since we're both so similar, I'm like, how many are you reading?
Yeah.
I'm currently doing The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy.
Okay.
You've not read that one? That would go right along with what you're doing with the Miracle Morning. It would like piggyback on that. And then I'm Fearlessly Living, I think. And I can't remember who that's by. Plus the Bible, which I read every morning.
Okay. So just finished The Water Dancer, which was fictional, completely. In fact, I was referring it to a friend and I didn't realize it's like considered one of the 10 best books of the something. I mean, it's phenomenal. So finished that. And then I am also.
Who writes that one? I might want to get that.
His name is, it's a little bit of a tricky one, Ta-Nehisi Coates. Okay. So I'll send it to you. But the other one is The Big Leap. That is, I've like started.
Well, I'm reading that one every day, like all the time, like never stop reading it. Like even if I'm not reading it, I'm reading it in my head. That book will change. Yeah, it changes your life.
Yeah, I'm so excited. Yes. So those are a few of the ones, and then like I have my digital books, I have my non-digital books, and
that's right. Yeah, we got it going on. I have to remember to take times of not listening to anything and not reading anything. Like I literally have to force myself to take time off listening to words.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I get that. I get that.
Alrighty. Do you create to live or live to create?
Oh, I live to create.
Yeah, I was going to say, I kind of had a feeling we already knew that because of what energized you. I was like, it's going to be live to create.
I live to create.
And name the person who's had the most influence on you, whether they are dead or alive.
Wow, that's a good one. And I've been interviewed a lot, and I don't know if anyone has ever asked me that question. That is such a great question. I would say the person that has had the most influence on me has probably been my best friend. So our parents dated when we were kids. So we have had this really interesting relationship because we were almost family, but not. They broke up, but we didn't. So he and I have been together since we were kids and still very much so do life together. He's married with a family in one state. I'm married with a family in another state, but we have soul ties. And so I would say that's a great question. I'm going to go back and ask my husband. So who do you think has had over my lifetime the most influence on me? Yeah, I'll pick my best friend. I'll pick him.
And the last question of these 10 is, what one word describes you best?
Indomitable.
Oh my gosh. I don't even know if I've ever heard that word before. Tell me about this word.
Indomitable is the spirit of not being able to be broken. It is the nth degree of resilient. It is that I pursue my best and my highest no matter what.
I love that word. I don't know if I could spell it, so I haven't put it on the screen, but
let's see. I'm going to put it here for you.
I want to
spell it.
Absolutely.
I'm a horrible speller, but I'm going to give it to you.
I'm going to say it in It's so funny.
I believe this is the way it is spelled to you.
I want to know. I love words.
I know, me too. I do believe that that's the way it's spelled. But yes, love it.
Okay, so she's put it somewhere. I'm not sure where she's put it, but it's.
I put it in chat.
In chat in here. Okay.
I did.
See, I'm learning the new. I see the little. I see it. Oh, indomitable. See, I would not have spelled it that way. So I'm going to create that and put that on the page. So for those who are watching live, welcome. I'm going to welcome you real quick, and then we're going to go back to carrying on with the broadcast because we do not want this to be boring for those who are simply listening. But if you were listening and you wish your name had been shouted out, then you'll have to come and watch live on Facebook or YouTube. So Erica and Cassandra, thank you so much for being here. We're so excited to have you listening in live while we are recording this. Yes, and there are others listening too, but they're not showing comments. So thanks so much for being here. So I'm curious, you live where?
In Atlanta, Georgia.
Atlanta, Georgia. I remember that now because I have so many women that I connect with in Atlanta, Georgia. It must just be full of badass women. That's it just, it has to be because I'm like, Shanita, who does exercise for the plus size woman, is there, and she's amazing. And my friend Celine, who just rocks purple hair. You need to connect with Celine. She's just outside of Atlanta. There's just so many people in the Atlanta area. I'm like, why am I drawn to this area? What is it about that area? So what is it about that area that draws me in? What do you think?
Well, I do think that there is certainly with Black people, there is like this renaissance, right, of possibility.
Okay.
I think that's really at the crux of it. You know, a lot of people come here for more opportunities in many ways. Like if you think about post-slavery time when the enslaved people were traveling to the North, right? Now you find that things are shifting. And so people are certainly coming to like Atlanta and Charlotte and different places. That's from a Black perspective. Right. But then you have just like, there is a really interesting mix of the Southern charm or whatever that is with this kind of tapestry of all these people coming from all over. So it creates a melting pot that's very, very different. And it's new. It's a new melting pot. So it's interesting. It's interesting in that way. And so there are a lot of opportunities. And what I think aligns you with it is then where opportunities are there, it attracts people who want to create something, right? Mm-hmm. Those badasses, definitely.
Yeah, I think that whole piece of creating and connecting with women who want to make an impact and be bold in the world is definitely, and the Black community and we're connected at a root. I don't know when I do my DNA if I'm going to find that there's something Black in there, because there certainly doesn't show on my face at all. But in my attitude, in my spirit, and everything that I am, put me in a Black church, honey, and I got my white hanky out, and I am amening with the best of them, and I cannot help myself, and I stand up when the preacher says something really good. Now I am fully into the Black culture, and so I've been so fully into the Black culture that some of my white friends have said, "Don't you be copying them." I'm like, no, you don't get it. You don't get it because you haven't been there. You haven't lived it with me. It's in my spirit, and I can't help myself. Yeah. So I love making an impact with Black women and raising them up and putting them on a platform that promotes that they are just like everybody and that they deserve to have a platform to share their life, their boldness, their creativity, and there should be nothing holding them back.
Certainly.
So, yeah. So anyway, that's
important work.
My sidestep on the.
Yeah, but it's important work. And I appreciate certainly, Cyndilu, the intentionality of that, because as humans, we tend to connect with those that are most like us in whatever way, right? Like, you know, expatriates or age or, you know, whatever the case may be. And so when we choose to do something different is really powerful, especially being someone that has privilege. And so when I think that how we heal America's original sin is by those with privilege being willing to say, and you too, right? Like that whole moment of us coming together and opening up space and inviting. And, there's just so many powerful ways that those with, like yourself, with privilege that can do that. So I certainly think that's important work, and I thank you.
And there's so many Black women who have been so influential in my life that there's no way that I could. My best friend is Black, and her influence in my life and over my lifetime, and our even discussions about racism and how there was this misunderstanding that if I didn't see color, then I wasn't being, she's like, well, that's part of your problem. If you're not seeing color, you're not seeing us. You're not seeing fully who I am. And to not recognize that all of us have color, that we are all women and men of color, and our tones are different. And to say, I see your color and I love it and I love you. Well,
and Cassandra is on here saying, yes, Cyndilu, you're Blackish.
It's so true. It's so true. Yeah. I go to a Black church, and it takes no time at all for them to know that I am there with them, as them, with them, like part of who they are. Not even, I'm not a spectator in the church to see what they're doing. I'm involved. So anyway, thank you for helping me with that, because I really was starting to wonder. It's like, why are all these people from Atlanta absolutely drawn to me? It's so strange. So totally makes sense. Now, I know I've been through a bunch of trauma, and I'm assuming you have been. If you are doing this work, chances are you've been through something. Other than that, what has caused you to want to help people go from trauma to transformation?
Well, I don't even know if there is an other. I think that we have soul. I think that we have like a soul archetype. I think that there was a reason, right? So if you think about it from the standpoint of whether you're, look at it from a biblical lens or non-biblical, like there are certainly universal truths around why we're here and our purpose, right? And I believe that through my life experiences, that that has been identified in the traumas that I have survived. So I think that it's all a part of my soul journey. Just like me being super clear, and always have been, of who I have a heart for, how I show up in the world, all of that but it's all stemmed from my own personal experiences. So I don't know if there is anything other than that has led me to that place. It's understanding that this is it. Like I said, I'm super clear.
I think that I have this belief that most people on the planet, and probably all the people on the planet, but some of them haven't figured it out, have some kind of a life message that's been put into them that they're to bring to this planet. So that takes me back to my commercial. So Becoming Bold You is the beBOLDyou personality expression system. And my message is that all of us are unique, that we're all designed uniquely beautiful, and we do not need to try to be like anybody else, that we are created to bring forth what it is that is in us, and that we're to go forward in the world and bring that to the world. Yes. So all of that choosing who we're going to become is in the Becoming Bold You book. And you can get that by going to beBOLDyou.com/BBY book. There we go. Commercial over. There's some music to come out of the commercial. And we're back now with the rest of the show. So we're going to dive into the content piece. And that first question that you said, I ask all my guests this: what if there's one question you could be asked, and what would that be? And the one that you came back with was, I was like, Oh, that's such a good question. And it will really lead and guide where we go in this discussion. We have not pre-planned any of this. This is, it's a candid conversation. It's a life journey. It's real life, real talk, however you want to say it. I don't remember how I'm saying it for season 3, but anyway, I'm saying it. So the question is that you came up with was, does everyone need healing?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, oh, great question. So Miss Heidi, does everyone need healing?
So I didn't want to say this too quickly, but what I've learned in my own soul journey is that everyone has something to heal. And everything that we want is on the other side of our healing. And so, some of us are very aware of our traumas. It's like, oh, yep, I know I've been through trauma. Other times I talk with people and they're like, I've been through some things, but I really don't know that it's trauma. So here is how I define trauma. Trauma is any adverse situation that changes how you see yourself and or how you walk through the world. Period.
Yeah. And our spirit does not know the difference between something that really happened to us and something that we perceive happened to us.
Yeah, there's so much around that. There's so much around that.
Unpack that a little.
Well, I talk about people who have a victim know-how. And so there may be something that is set within your psyche that makes you align with a victim kind of archetype, a victim way of being. So that then, and we climb what I like to call, there's a very powerful concept called the ladder of inference. In this, we have a belief, and that belief gets us to the first rung. After that, we continue to go to the next rung because our subconscious is dedicated to making us right. So if I say I'm a victim and I see Cyndilu and she's like, hello, I'm like, oh, Cyndilu is upset with me because I didn't speak with her fast enough. That's what's going on in my head. It's my own personal little story, has nothing to do with reality. But for me, it's my reality. And so that's how you can create. And then I then respond in kind to Cyndilu. And I'm like, well, hello, right? now Cyndilu really is kind of like, well, what's up with Heidi? But I actually set this whole thing in motion. I was the catalyst for this whole story because of who I believed myself to be, which was the victim. And I've done work. I started a nonprofit in 2003. And in working with those clients, I worked with women who had been in abusive situations. That's where I started domestic violence and created a coaching program for them. And for many of those clients, I will tell them, girl, you're going to make a good man beat you because you are so committed to your victim. You're more committed to your victim than you are to your healing. And so therefore, everybody else that comes into your play, they have to play the role that fits you with who you believe yourself to be. That's what I think it means.
Wow, that is amazing. So I'm just thinking, I'm kind of caught off guard a little bit, and I'm partly caught off guard because I'm realizing that something is in me from being a child and being yelled at for taking too much food or doing something with food. Because last night at church, I walked into the room and there was this young man and he had filled his bowl with cream, like whipped cream. And he was told he could go get pudding and he wanted whipped cream. So he just filled it. And I walked in there. I'm like, no, you may not. No, give that bowl. And I took half of it back. And I was like, why did I do that? What in me is unhealed? Now that you're saying this, it's there's something in me that is totally unhealed and needs attention. So I will be dealing with that in some sozo prayer soon. This is because it rose up in me in such a way that, I felt the anger and I felt the frustration and all of that stuff. And it had nothing to do with him. I get that now. I had to apologize to him and ask forgiveness, in front of everybody, because I was like, that was so wrong of me to do that. And someone else walked in the room and said, oh, you have a bowl full of cream. And she just laughed because the apple stuff was in in the oven still. So all that was out there was the cream. So he was told to go get pudding. So he went and got what he saw.
Mm-hmm.
Duh. Of course. Like, that's a kid. Like, you're going to do that.
Mm.
And I don't know why we as adults think, or why I as an adult think that that's not okay.
Mm.
It's like, because everybody's not going to have enough or something. I think it probably has to do with the not enough and the fear that there isn't going to be enough. So anyway, it was very interesting. And I just, I'm on that journey myself. Like, we're all on the journey. It can be something as simple as that brings about, I guess I shared that because I really wanted, I was like going, why am I sharing this? And it's like, because I really want people to know that it doesn't mean that you have been beaten. It doesn't mean necessarily that, you have gone through some super physically traumatic thing. It could be an emotional trauma.
So here's what we now know. So there's so many pieces of this that are just super exciting to me. They're juicy. First of all, so we look at trauma on a continuum. So when I first get with any clients, we do a deep dive, we do a life map, and it's really to help them uncover the context of their life. Why are they where they are right now? And to get to their core trauma. And so it's super interesting because many people will say, well, Heidi, I had a great life. I didn't have any trauma. And then when we start diving into it, it's this, oh my gosh, we're uncovering things that are super impactful to how they see themselves and how they walk through the world. And they'll say, and it's without question, in doing these life maps, I am able to pinpoint every single time. And it is a part of my spiritual gift. Like I have like a trauma intuition. Like I can smell it out. When I'm working with people, I'm like, so it may be what we would consider a small T. And then there are those that have big T's. But our society has gotten to the place where we only validate the big T's. Yes. So we have all of these people walking wounded that don't even know they need to be healed.
That is so true. Speak that one again. And okay, so I do a lot with Sozo prayer, which has the father ladder, which aligns with, realizing that things may have happened between our relationship with our parents or our brother, or our siblings, or our mother, that has led to this. And it's not necessarily, going back to the perceived versus the happened, it's not necessarily that it physically happened to you with that person. It's that you perceived it from something that happened, that they were like that, right? You've aligned. Okay, so my dad said, don't touch that all the time. Well, even if he didn't, if I felt like he was portraying that towards me and I was afraid to touch things when I was in his presence, now I'm equating that with I can't touch things.
Well, and honestly, some of the most powerful messages received are never spoken.
Exactly. And then they're perceived and they're received, and we take them on as something that really happened, and it may or may not have actually happened. But if we perceive it as happening, it's real in our spirits.
Period.
It's real in our lives, and it's directing us and taking us down a road that we don't necessarily want to go down.
Mm-hmm. True. And whether it happened or not, there comes a point of accountability where we have to decide, do I continue to hold on to this, or am I going to bless and release it?
Yeah.
Let that go.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so help me. I think that I've come up to something that I finally grasped. Funny, I use that word. In a way that has helped me, is that I cannot let go of anything that I have not fully taken hold of.
Right. I cannot let go of anything that I haven't embraced.
Yes. Mm-hmm. So if you're avoiding the fact that something makes you angry, so you avoid it, then you can't ever embrace it to understand why it's making you angry and then let it go. It's always going to be there.
Right.
Directing and guiding you. What
I say is, if you can't feel it, you can't heal it. So so many of us, especially those that are high performers, we do more, right? We get another degree. We are striving for, another 10,000 followers. We are, wanting to have greater influence, or we want to have, greater amounts of success in whatever way, because there is a belief that if I can do more, if I can get to the next level, then it won't hurt. I'll be able to fix this. And the problem with that, Cyndilu, is that it works for the short time. We have all of these, amazing neuroreceptors. We have serotonin and dopamine and oxytocin and all of these things that are popping off as we achieve different levels of success. And so it feels really good. And we're like, yes. So whatever it was that was hurting us, whatever the message is that says, no, you can't have a bowl of cream, right? When we win, it gets tamped down. And so we feel like in that moment that is the answer, until it comes back up again, because it wasn't ever resolved. It's like cutting down a weed. If you don't pull it up, I mean, I do a good bit of gardening, and I'm always telling my kids, don't just cut it off. We got to pull that weed from the root, because it'll look good, once we mow the lawn or whatever. But if we haven't really dealt with the roots of it, then it's going to come back. And so, it's the same thing that's true in all of us. If we're not clear and really dealing with our true hurt, and not just succeeding our way out of our pain, because there's always another carrot that we can go to make us feel better. And the world says, oh, you're doing great. I can't believe you've accomplished all of that, not knowing that you're running from the imposter pimp.
Yeah. And then you have people that kill themselves, and you wonder why and how that happened. And I mean, I'm thinking of Robin Williams,
Oh, so many people. Yeah. Somebody tell me, what is the Kate Spade? Who was that? I think it's Kate Spade that killed herself as well. I mean, there's so many, well-known and lesser known people who, definitely do go to that place of ultimate, I can't do this anymore.
Yeah. Or it looks like you're finally getting your life together, and then something traumatic will happen. And it's because we're actually, as you said earlier, trying to make it come true. What we're thinking in our subconscious is what we're actually aiming for.
Right.
But we don't know it.
Right.
So how do we shift from that subconscious to the conscious?
The first thing that we have to do is to be willing. We have to be willing to, I talk often about, you have to be willing to sit in the dark place to really recognize your true light. So we want to stand in our light. We want to stand in our glory. We want to stand in our brilliance. But if we don't know the darkness, then we can never stand in our full light. And so the first step of that is recognizing, I need to get some support. I need to get some help. I need to do something different. I have to recognize that I have these blind spots. Mm-hmm. And even if you're a DIYer, right? You may be super DIY, but ultimately, there comes that place where we really have to get some support to be, and I know so that we can have that healing and transformation. And I know for me, I am very well supported. So I have someone that does, emotional intelligence work with me, someone that does trauma resolution work with me. I have business, mentors and coaches, because I realized that I can only take myself so far. And once I realized that, Cyndilu, everything changed for me.
Yes. Not doing it by yourself. I remember getting in trouble at work and what I got in trouble for was the fact that I didn't ask for help. Mm-hmm. They were like, you will spend 10 minutes looking for something that we can tell you the answer to in a minute.
Right. And it's not being a good steward of your time, your money, your energy, anything.
And up until that point, I thought I wasn't worthy if I couldn't figure it out on my own.
Which, by the way, goes back to the whole the bowl of cream thing. It is a conversation around worthy. Who are you? Who are you to take a whole bowl of cream?
Oh, wow. Okay. I did say some of my story might leak out when I put in the description, because I think that because I agree with you that we all have something to be healed from. And I know with that happening last night that there's just something that's like on the surface and ready for me. I'm ready to deal with it. Like I'm ready, and that being willing, being ready, being prepared. And I think that we sometimes want to change those around us and we don't realize that we can't, right? We can't change them.
Nope.
We can only change ourselves.
Absolutely. And it's, another great book is called Loving What Is.
Ooh, I have not read that one.
Oh my goodness. Byron Katie. Loving What Is. And one of the things that she talks about in the book often, and I had to look over at my bookshelf, but is that your business? And so often, I have to remind myself, this may be impactful to me. How my husband puts the kids to bed may impact me. It's none of my business. He's putting them to bed, right? Like unless I'm willing to go in there and do it myself, if it's not my turn, I'm like, you got that, buddy. I can't, micromanage him on how he does it. And really, there are so many different pieces of that it's very much so true. And really diving into what's your business and what's not your business.
Whew, not my monkey, not my business. Is that one of those terms?
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I have the underwear drawer. That's what helped me to figure out like what was my business and what wasn't. Mm-hmm. If it's in the underwear drawer, it's not my business, because if I go to somebody else's house, I'm not going to their bedroom to open up their underwear drawer to check it out. Right. Like I don't even have an inclination to do that unless I'm perverted, which I'm not. So I have to put things that other people are saying about me into the underwear drawer. Mm-hmm. Like it's none of my business. It doesn't matter if I screwed up and I did something stupid and they're saying stuff about that. I just need to put what they're saying into the underwear drawer and shut it. And it's not my business. And I don't have to let it control me.
How people feel about you is none of your business.
Yeah. It's none, yeah.
And so I'm going to say that one again, because somebody somewhere, how people feel about you is none of your business. Yeah. And that's big. That is a far departure from what our society says, well, how many likes did it get? Our society says, well, how big is your, we're constantly pulling out the measuring tape to see if we measure up. And we will always find ourselves in a place of being inadequate and depleted and deficient because there's always somebody greater and lesser than yourself. Always.
Always. And it's not bad to figure out where on the road you are. It's bad to allow where you are on the road to determine whether or not you keep going or stop.
Sure. Yeah.
Right? Because absolutely, it's not bad to figure out where we are on the road, to like check those analytics, to figure out where you're at, to know, but that's where you're going, right? You're choosing where you're going and you're looking at where you are in regards to where you want to go, not in regards to where other people tell you should be going.
Right. Yeah, you define you and you define what success is for you. And I've made very deliberate choices in my life so that I can have the life that I currently live. And my life journey has looked different. Everyone's journey is different, but I've been very much so willing to be an outlier in the pack and to think about how do I design my own life? Like before I started helping other people design their lives, I committed to being a designer of my own life. And so simple things like, I shouldn't say simple, but things like I've always wanted to be home with my children. I didn't want them to go to daycare. So I completely designed my life around the fact that I would have kids and that I would never have them in daycare. We live in such a way. So you think about that had to do with where we lived, what kind of house did we live, being able to live on one salary, you're doing all of these different things that were really intentional so that we could have the lifestyle that we wanted, and really looking at also knowing what we wanted was huge and knowing what was most important. So as a part of the work that I do with clients is helping them to get super clear on what we call the divine ideal. Why did God put you here? Why did the universe put you here in this moment in 2020 at the stage where you are at this time? Why are you here? and then being super clear on what your values and things are so that you can create life affirming, you can create a life affirming or make life affirming actions. So any choice that comes up, it's like, is this a life affirming choice for you? I'm thinking I should go out of town. Do you know what's most important? You know your values, you know what you want most. When you get clear on all of that, then choices, it's like a litmus test. It's really beautiful. Okay, this is what we need to do.
Yeah, the alignment test, does this align with where I want to go? Does this align with what I want? And if you don't know what you want, if you're not sure where you want to go, Heidi may be a great person. If you're connecting with her and you're really feeling like you'd like to figure this out, this might be a really good connection for you. And I just want to put this, we're not quite at the end, but we're at a place where I want to put in that she has a test, and I've made a quickie link, which I've started doing for my beBOLDyou podcast, to make it really easy for you guys to get to her resource for you, which is beBOLDyou.com, beBOLDyou podcast, right? /day quiz. Now her last name is Day, so we have the day quiz, because if you go to beBOLDyou.com /quiz, you're going to go to my beBOLDyou, Becoming Bold You quiz. So I had to figure out how I was going to do this. So it's day quiz.
Day quiz.
Yeah. beBOLDyou.com /day quiz. And you will get there and you will be able to take that quiz. What will that quiz help them to figure out?
So that is going to help you figure out your secret healing archetypes. So each of us has our own way that we heal, right? And many of us don't know this. Like it might be somewhere floating around in the back of our minds, but we really don't know how our native healing takes place, what we typically do. So it is an emotional healing blueprint quiz, and really just allowing you to tap into that truth within you so that you can say, hey, I am really wanting to embark on this journey, but I need to kind of first know. It's like this. If you were to go online and you were going to book a ticket and you're like, I want to go to Maui because Heidi said that there were rainbow trees there. In order for you to be able to successfully book that ticket, you're going to have to know from whence you're starting. Are you starting from New Zealand or are you starting from Atlanta, right? And so that's kind of what the quiz does. It just lets you know where you are now so that you can begin to plan where you want to go.
Yeah, because if I book a ticket from Atlanta, I'm going to have to just give it to Heidi.
Yeah.
She'll take it. She'll take it.
I'll take your ticket.
Oh my gosh. So is there anything else that you just absolutely want people to kind of understand about the healing journey or about trauma and transformation?
The thing that I would say most importantly is that healing is not optional if you want to live the highest and best expression of yourself. You will live a life half full. Your dash will be incomplete if you don't do your healing. So, you were born in 1969 and we're in the dash. If you're not committed to healing, and again, every one of us has something to heal, and everything that we want is on the other side of that healing. So it's not optional, because if you want to have that amazing relationship, if you want to have the job that just fills your soul, if you want to have the life that just allows you to smile and mean it, you must heal.
I love that. And so really a part of living in the dash is the healing journey. That was one of the things that I heard you say. I kind of paraphrased it there, but yeah, because I think that we all want to live and do our best and, live life to the fullest here. But if we don't embrace the healing part of the journey, we're never going to actually attain our best.
We cannot.
And I have seen people who are dying who are dying of cancer. I've had a couple of friends who have died of cancer. And in that, they were actually so grateful for that because they got a healing in their spirit and their soul.
Yep.
And they left this planet at peace.
Yeah. Yeah. Another great book is The Anatomy of the Spirit by Carolyn Mays. That name is spelled MYSS, so it's a little bit deceiving, The Anatomy of the Spirit, but it talks about how our biology is influenced by our biography. So your story shows up at a cellular level. And so cancer and heart disease and hernias and so many different things, they are directly connected to our story. And so that's why, the whole aspect of just healing is so essential. Well, you'll have to wait, ma'am. You'll have to wait. My dog is like, hello, I want to be on the show. But yeah, it's a great book to also.
What was the name of the book again?
Anatomy of the Spirit.
Anatomy of the Spirit.
Carolyn MYSS, pronounced Mays.
MYSS. And Carolyn, CAROLINE.
Yep, I do believe it's that. Yes.
So there we go. For those watching on the video, you've got that there. So, and it does show up at a cellular level. It is just amazing to me how much of our lives comes out in our physical being. Yeah. And as we're healed at a spirit level, sometimes those things on the physical being don't heal, right? You exit the planet from them. Most people exit the planet through death of some sort, of some reason. I've only been a couple that haven't, and I'm all for going the way that Enoch and Elijah went. But if I'm not one of those people, I pray that on my bed that I will know that I have found peace with my spirit and my soul.
Amazing.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for being here. I have a feeling you and I could talk for hours. And we have actually not talked for hours, but we have definitely had some good conversations, which is what led me to saying, I have an opening and I want you. Can you? And I know the birthday bash is over, but can you just fill me in a little bit on, as the last thing that we talk about here, what exactly is that and how did that come about?
Okay, so yeah, I just celebrated my birthday, September 24th, and I did a birthday bash, which was really all about self-love. Again, embracing you and just learning to love you. And it was so fun. And just, I must confess that even now, so now, people are the people that attended, I gave away a free gift. And they are now collecting that gift. And I'm so enjoying that whole process of really looking at how to do tiny things in meaningful ways to overcome overwhelm in less than 30 days.
Oh, I love it.
So yeah, I'm just, again, that it's a really big, it's a really big gift because I know that these are the changes, especially in 2020, when this audio is being recorded. We need to dig a little bit deeper in order to be able to thrive. And many of us need to be able to dig a little bit deeper just to survive in 2020. So certainly, this is very timely. The now of this moment requires additional support. And that's what this does. And I'm going to be doing an encore of the masterclass side of this at the end of this month. So certainly if folks come into, the space and say, hey, I want to know more, they can also, just reach out to me, hello@HeidiDay.net, and I can let them know when that masterclass will be. So super excited about that. Slay Every Day is the name of the masterclass.
hello@HeidiDay.net. I typed com, I said net, and I still type con. Isn't that just amazing? So there we go. There's the website if people, or the email.
Yep.
I spell it right?
Yep, you got it.
I did. So for those listening on the podcast, I will put it in the description, but also it is hello@Heidi, HEIDIDAY.net.
That is
So you
it.
can write to her. And I bet if you go to HeidiDay.net, there'll be all kinds of stuff for you to explore. And I think she's got some freebie stuff there too, including that quiz.
Yes.
So again, beBOLDyou.com/day quiz, and you will find that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you again for being here. It has been such an interesting and in-depth conversation, which I knew it would be, about trauma and transformation. And I just want to encourage anyone who's out there now and you're struggling with this, connect with Heidi, connect with myself. But whichever one of us resonated with you more, because neither of us can help everyone. Yep. Like, we're both aware that it's not competition here, it's collaboration, it's coming together, it's presenting this, it's letting people know that they can overcome. So I'd love to help people out and direct people to Heidi that connect with her, because you got to connect with the person that resonates with you in order to do the healing journey. It has to be somebody you trust, care, and can really let into your biggest secrets. Because it is the secrets, the reason secrets from yourself. Wouldn't you say that's true? Like, we have secrets from ourselves. Like, we don't know. When I first started asking, what do I want? It was like, I don't know. Like, I literally thought I didn't know. But once I got inside of myself, I started discovering, there's some things I want, right?
And giving yourself permission to want.
Yeah, permission to want. Back to that word again. Jeepers. Heidi, shh. So for those who are listening on the podcast, thank you so much for tuning in. This is the beBOLDyou podcast with Cyndilu and guest Heidi Day. We want you to smile big and mean it. Live your life out loud and beBOLDyou.
Bye-bye. Thank you so much.